Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for a NETGEAR training webinar. Today, we wanted to share with you some strategies in dealing with ransomware. Presenting our today's topic is NETGEAR sales engineer, Keith Nelson. Feel free to ask any questions, and we'll be answering them during the presentation and afterwards during our Q&A sessions. Keith, ready?
Yep. Thank you, Angela. Appreciate it. As Angela was saying, we'd like to discuss strategies in dealing with ransomware today, and hopefully you'll find this information very useful in your business. During the webinar, we'd like to, first of all, discuss data security and the reliability of that data. And having that for your business ultimately is what keeps your business running. If you lose that data, you tend to lose your business or the continuity of your business. So there's actually 5 different steps that businesses should take in implementing data and reliable data for their business. And that all deals with data backups. First, there's an employee self-directed backup. And we'll discuss each of these in detail as we go along. IT managed employee data backup to a shared storage device. Then there's also a managed company-wide backup to cloud services or cloud storage backup. IT managed company-wide backup to a physical device separate from the company, so an off-site type of storage for backing up to. And then, of course, we have data backup for survival, a disaster recovery type site. We'll also be discussing ransomware and why it is so problematic for companies' data and the information that you're storing. Then also we'll be discussing ReadyNAS and why it's the ultimate backup solution for your company. So in dealing with data backups, there's some practices or best practices that we should be implementing, or compulsory business practices that should happen all the time. The reason for this is there's a lot of reasons why you would lose your data. Human error, people forgetful that delete files by accident, things like that, or physical damage, rain, lightning, things like that, personnel changes. Some personnel take the information with them and take it completely out of the system. Viruses and malware, those have become a big problem with data. And then also, of course, natural disasters, floods, lightning, meteors, things like that. The biggest one and that's been increasing lately is ransomware and how to deal with ransomware, and it's become a big problem. We'll be discussing that more in detail. Industry trends that are happening currently with backups is a lot of companies are turning to cloud storage. It's an off-site type storage to be able to keep your data there. On-premise storage, or NAS or network attached storage, is another solution that we'll be discussing. And hybrid storage, that's a combination, store it on-site in a network attached storage device, and also keep a copy elsewhere, either in the cloud or as a disaster recovery site. So our first one, employee self-directed backup. Everybody can do this. It's very simple to do. Simply mounting a hard drive and making it a shared folder or a mapped drive that everybody can do. The pros of this is it's very simple, easy to operate. It's widely used throughout many businesses. The cons are everyone's forgetful. Sometimes, getting regular backups or doing it regularly may or may not happen, depending upon, it's a manual process. And so that might be a strategy to use, but in most cases it has more cons than pros. A better practice would be to have an IT assisted personnel to help back it up. So there's lots of different software out there that can make it more automated. Backup software, those run on both PCs and Macs. You do need a server or a device to back up the information to, and the cost of that sometimes is prohibitive, or if it's budgeted, it can work very well. In a NAS type situation, or ReadyNAS in particular, those work with Windows. You also have unlimited snapshots that you can utilize for protecting your data and automating that easily. So the pros of this, again, comprehensive data backup, and it's easy to use. No extra software to use. Usually that's all included in a ReadyNAS, or Windows backup is there readily available. Cons would be minimal. You just need a network connection to be able to do it. Third best practice would be for IT managed backup to the cloud. This would be, for instance, a cloud service like Dropbox or Google Drive or Amazon Cloud Services or Azure or Microsoft OneDrive. And this would be a way to back up your information and store it on the cloud. It's easy to use that large cloud storage. You can utilize that company-wide. Cons of it, cost and limited space. Even though there's cloud storage available, generally it's on a per terabyte basis or per gigabyte basis, and it's a monthly charge. And so sometimes that might be cost prohibitive in doing cloud backups or cloud storage. Number 4 best practice is to have an IT managed backup service, or an IT managed service do it for you. They can automate this, backup physical, storage, and have on-site storage as well as off-site storage for you. This is, reliable. You have access to your files, and it allows instantaneous data transfer. One of the cons of it is, in a disaster, which do you back up from? As you can see down here in this area, this is on ReadyNAS, and you have your files, but keeping them in line as far as which is the oldest and which is the newest sometimes can be a problem in recovering your data. And so we'll discuss what's easier than that. Also, the 5th best practice is disaster recovery. Having an off-site NAS or network attached storage, and to be able to share your files, your LUNs, your information, and your virtual storage over to an off-site device. This can be done at block level using a ReadyNAS, and you can replicate between your shares and your LUNs. And these all use standard file protocols such as NFS, NTFS, SMB, and virtual machines that can be transferred or replicated from one site to another. This is the most reliable because generally, if you gain some ransomware at your office, the offsite one is completely free of that. And so that's the most reliable in recovering your data. The cons to it would be, disaster recovery budget. So let's talk a little bit about ransomware. Ransomware has come out over the last 4 or 5 years and tends to be a real problem in networking. it encrypts your data, and it requires that you pay a ransom to get your data back. So all those data files are encrypted, and it causes a problem. The problem with paying the ransom is it's not always reliable. You can pay the ransom, but not always is the thief going to release your data. And so that's what they're after, is money. They're not really after your data. They just want to cause problem to your business. And so, paying the ransom, that's really not a good option in most cases. The best defense is a good offense. So what if you never have to get the virus? What if the virus can't see an editable file and can't infect it? Well, that's where ReadyNAS comes in. And let's talk about some strategies with ransomware. On the ReadyNAS, there's 5 levels of protection that are automatically included with every ReadyNAS. The first one, of course, is RAID, a redundant array of independent disks. And everyone knows this as a way to, if you have one disk fail, you can recover because other disks have the information shared across all of those disks. Real-time antivirus is already on board the ReadyNAS, and this gives real-time information to the ReadyNAS to protect your data and watch out for any viruses that might be introduced. Also, there's bit rot protection. Bit rot is a way of keeping the data refreshed so it doesn't suddenly just disappear or fade out, and that's to protect the data and keep it up to date. Cloud backup and replication, that's already on board, and you can do site-to-site replication with ReadyDR and also using simply backup on the ReadyNAS. And then the last one, unlimited snapshots. And this will, as you going forward, we'll see that snapshots are a moment in time that is a frozen moment in time of your data, and you'll be able to recover using those. So NETGEAR's definition of snapshots is a little bit different, and this is an exclusive technology to NETGEAR and to ReadyNAS. It's a point in time for file recovery. Snapshots, by definition with NETGEAR, cannot be written or changed in any way, not even by the administrator. So this is a really important point, and I want to repeat this again. Snapshots, by definition, with NETGEAR, cannot be written or changed in any way, not even by the administrator. So what I've shown here on the left side, this is an example of what files look like on a ReadyNAS. And here is a breakdown from my SE buddies to team pictures and ultimately some data. Now, if I were to click on this, I can actually open it up and see what that data is. But as you can see on the snapshot view, I've had these under automatic snapshots, and here's that same folder, but these are grayed out. Now I can actually click on them and I can recover them, but I cannot do anything other than that. It will not allow me to write to those or change those files in any way under a snapshot. So files that cannot be or that can be infected by ransomware are executable files or data that can be edited or changed. So ransomware requires being able to open the file and encrypt it or change it. If a file can't be encrypted then or even seen, then it can't be encrypted. So snapshots can't be written to or changed, thus they cannot be infected by ransomware. So this is the ultimate protection against ransomware is simply utilizing snapshots, because they can't be written to, they can't be changed in any way. So effectively, the virus can't see or penetrate it to infect it. So that's the great thing about our snapshot technology. NETGEAR has many different solutions, and they all utilize the same snapshot technology as well as backup technology. And we have many different desktop models as well as rack mount models, anywhere from a 1U 4-bay rack mount all the way up to a 60-bay rack mount device. All of our ReadyNASs are really well known for their performance, reliability, and capacity. Here are some examples or our portfolio of our desktop NASs. This one here is a little 2-bay, 4-bay, 6-bay, and 8-bay. A lot of these, as you can see, offer 10 gig connectivity already on board. Most of these also include quad-core processors that are Intel Xeon based, and so very fast, very reliable devices. And then we have our rack mount series of ReadyNAS. We have our small 4-bay 2304 and all the way up to our 60-bay units. Our 60-bay can also utilize expansion chassis and go up to a total of 132 bays or 1.5 petabytes in size. So very large if you need it to be. Also, our 12-bay unit here can be expanded utilizing the same expansion chassis and go up to a total of 60 bays by itself. These include 10 gig connectivity both in copper and fiber. So ultimately, your best defense and last defense is to back up your device and utilize the 5 strategies of protection that NETGEAR employs, such as snapshotting to keep you safe from ransomware. So in a nutshell, back up your devices. And that's all I had. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, there's a few questions. So I'm just going to read it. Even Derek and Rich are answering them, so everyone can hear what the question were. The first question was, how do we restore the backup? Is it image restore so we can restore the entire operating systems, application, and data?
So the snapshots are of the data itself, and under the snapshots, there's a little tab that says restore. And so you can actually click on the snapshot that you want to restore and click the restore button and bring that data back and recover it. So of course, if you do experience ransomware, first you will need to have the snapshots already in place, be able to wipe out the ransomware from off the system, and then be able to pull the snapshot back to recover the data.
Okay, and there's another question. Can you back up server at image or sector level?
No, it will not restore an entire server level and be able to boot the server back up.
Okay. So one question and a related after question is, can you back up server to Ready Cloud? And Derek answered, says, if you want to back up to the cloud, you want to use what's called ReadyVault. And then the question is, how does ReadyVault work?
So ReadyVault is a cloud service from NETGEAR, and it allows you to be able to store information from your ReadyNAS or your devices. So it's very similar to Amazon Cloud Services or Google Drive or OneDrive in nature. You can simply sign up for ReadyVault and then be able to transfer your information to that and store it there.
Okay. And a follow-up question to a previous question that you were answering, the person was asking for if the backup server at image or sector level, and then he asked for, do you plan to introduce it?
I don't have information on that just yet. I need to follow up with our product line manager to see if that's something that he's doing.
Okay. So another question. How does NAS react to failing a hard drive?
To a failed hard drive? So built within the NAS, there's information. It tells you, it has performance information within the NAS, and you'll be able to see if a drive is failing. You can actually set up warnings within the NAS that will alert you to, possible drive issues or drive failures, also temperature readings and information about the drives that are going on. If you do have a drive failure, most NASs that come with the drives are warranted for 5 years on the drives, and getting a next business day replacement is very easy.
Okay. Another question in regards to snapshots is, how much capacity should I allow for snapshots?
So the really nice part about our snapshot technology is it uses automatic compression within the snapshot technology. So unlike other technologies where you have to allow for a certain amount of space for those snapshots to fit in, with the ReadyNASs, you don't need to do that. It does this automatic compression, so it takes up very, very little space to begin with on the NAS. Then within the snapshotting technology, you have the ability to do what's called automatic pruning, where it'll take the oldest out first. So it'll always keep the newest data, snapshots of it, and move forward. And then periodically it'll weed out or prune the old technology.
Okay, I think you partially answered the following question is, do I have to manually weed out the old snapshots?
No, you don't have to. You can actually set that. If you'd like to, you can, but it's kind of cumbersome.
Okay, great. These are all the coming questions. If there are no more questions, and just letting everyone know that we will be sending out the recordings of this webinar and also the slides through email, and they will be posted in our partner portals as well. So if you're interested, you can go to partner portals, but they might take a few days for us to edit the videos and to upload these. Or you could ask any one of NETGEAR's people to forward these to you. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, and we're really happy to have you. We'll be sharing a Q4 webinar series schedules by end of this month, so please stay tuned. All right, thank you. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.